Hello. Just testing audio signals. Sorry, guys. It's gotta get. Just gotta do it every single time. Hello. Just testing audio signals. All right, sorry, guys. It's gotta be. Just gotta do it. Yeah. Every single time. All right. So we're back. Thought I'd pull out my electric just for the occasion today. Really, there's no special occasion. Sorry, adjusting because I'm lame. Okay, there we go. So, how is everyone doing? Been okay. Been working incredibly hard, but I'm gonna try and do this thing. If you guys have read I've kind of updated a whole bunch of the channel and stuff like that. So this is the first time that it's actually coming out official on a video. But the big thing that I'm planning on doing is trying to do this stream weekly, either Tuesdays or Thursdays around 5 p.m. That's the hope. Since I have a job that I have an outside job, I don't live at home. I have to pay rent. I have to pay utilities and all that stuff. But the plan is to do this every Tuesday or Thursday of every week, just for now at 5 p.m. And then the big thing is to kind of see if I can, move up from there. I'm sorry, for a minute there, I have to break for a second because currently right now, this whole entire studio smells like cat poop because one of my cats does not cover up her poop. For some reason, she just doesn't. Either it's because the other cat is scaring her, she just doesn't cover it, and this whole place smells like poop. It's whatever. Just I needed to break that for a second. I'm back. So I'm gonna check to see if the description is accurate. Yes. So the description is accurate. So if you read the description down below, the big thing that we're going to be talking about today is currently I'm in between projects. I recently got finished with a 3-minute short animated film. One of the other things that I do besides sort of my outside job is I'm a freelance composer. And so right now I'm in between projects, so I don't exactly have much to go on. A lot of the project-based stuff will be coming towards me. I'm currently waiting on another project, and then there's another one that's also on hold or in hiatus for right now. So we'll see what happens with that. I've discussed a little bit about that one project on my other channel, but that's just something that I don't need to bring up here. But currently I'm in between projects, and so I'm have a list of things that I would like to do to work on personal projects of my own that I would like to work on. Some of them are music based, some of them are video based, and basically it really comes down to sort of crowdsourcing the material, crowdsourcing the who wants to do what. Excuse me just for a sec. Boop. Boop. All right. So, um, one of the projects, I'm sorry, I had the list on my phone. So, one of the projects right now is currently, um, if anybody has been a fan of sort of like mini documentaries on YouTube, you know, little tiny documentaries about certain pinpointed subjects, you know, stuff like what Casey Neistat does when he does his like project base, or when he's focused on something with his family or something, or a trip vlog. Um, I like that style of creation, and I've been wanting to sort of emulate it in a kind of my own style way. Um, Granted, my own style is a little bit more wonky and not exactly, you know, it's a lot more haphazard and kind of runs, um, it kind of runs very off the cuff. But at the same time, I have a notebook in my backpack that I've currently been writing down a bunch of subject matter. I've been writing the basically just little diatribes, kind of like memoirs, but they're not, you know, they're not exactly memoirs. And I currently have one that's almost finished that I'm going to be uh, actually shooting some footage for at some point, because it's definitely something I've been wanting to focus on. Um, and so there's a bunch of subjects that I have written down both on my phone and then on this notebook that I would love to sort of make a video for. But I don't know if there's an audience for that, especially coming from what I do outside of this. Uh, Mainly, it's because I, mainly it's just because you know, I'm not really known for that kind of subject matter, but I feel like it's something that I want to branch out to, and what I want to definitely do at some point. Um, I and then there's the other major project. There's another major project that I'm currently have been kicking around for years, upwards of almost 8 at this point. Okay, maybe a little less than 8, like 6 years that I've been kicking around this idea. Um, and it has a title, and the subject matter is vaguely stapled down. But the problem is that I have a very hard time of addressing whether I want it to be a music project, a media project, or a comic, which all of those are vastly different in their undertakings and vastly different in their processes. Um, I've never done a comic before, but I would love to try it. Definitely done media before, because I used to be a filmmaker and video reviewer a couple of years back. I don't do that anymore. And then the music is what I do now. But the subject matter is the title of the story is Test Pilot Number 12, and they come in issues, sort of like comic books, but also sort of like the 1940s pulps, sort of like issued like tiny little paperback stories that are like adventures and stuff like that. And Test Pilot Number 12 takes place in this sort of steampunky, diesel punky era in which a great war has happened, and humankind has been sort of battling it out between two factions. And one of the factions has started taking in human test subjects and creating them into these um, sort of like fantastical machines. They turn them into basically like their like sole mission is to be a pilot of one thing, or a captain of one thing. Um, and they're really good at it, and they're programmed, and they're built in a way where, you know, if they get hit, they can still get up and fight and stuff like that. And it's about one of them called Test Pilot Number 12. He's the number 12th iteration of these pilots that this one army has invented. And the big thing is that this pilot, um, while he doesn't fully remember his past, because they are unwitting volunteers for a lot of these test pilot subjects, um, he doesn't remember his past, but he gets glimpses in his head and everything, and he kind of remembers his past, and he knows that the army or the 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 faction that basically built him is something that is they're not exactly great. I mean, the other side isn't great either, but he can kind of see the both sides of the subject matter. And so it's kind of building that character and building that world. And the big thing is that I've been having a hard time trying to figure out whether or not, as I stated, if I want to do it as a music project, a media project, or a comic book. And now inherently I see some of the similarities between sort of making this into a comic book and writing out the story and fleshing out the characters, but I've always the other thing that I've always associated with Test Pilot is making it a music, making it associate with music in some way. And I'm not talking about like Scott Pilgrim, where there's certain comic scenes that are they have written out tablature that you can play the music to if you're reading and stuff like that. And it's like it's it's kind of similar, but it's the one of the things that I guess the big thing is explaining like the design of the test pilots. All test pilots have removed senses, so they're kind of like blank slates. They don't exactly have faces. They have kind of like a burlap sack looking face, and so um, some of them have enhanced senses to help them with their specific job, but other than that, they're really just kind of blank slates. So Test Pilot can't explain what he's feeling. Test Pilot can only kind of emote through his body demeanor and his face and sort of and stuff like that. But the one thing he manages to do is pick up an old busted acoustic guitar and he can play it really well, and that's how he uses to communicate. And so it's sort of his adventures in this sort of fantastical world, playing both sides and also finding the other test pilots and figuring out who they are. And through him helping them, he's helping himself. And so that's kind of the basic story. A lot, like I said, a lot of it's kind of stapled down, but a lot of it's stapled down, but it's not fully there. And I guess that's my big issue is that I the subject matter is kind of there. It's forming it into a creative project. That's the hardest part. And that's why it's been plaguing me for 6 years. I have the vivid image in my head of who this test pilot is. And he's gone through several iterations of do I want to play him if it were a music project, do I want to play him or do I want someone else to play him? And I'm just sort of the guy who's kind of shepherding him or something. He's had multitudes of different sidekicks, from this sort of like tech savvy kind of steampunky little. Um, best way that I can describe it is uh, Elvira from Tiny Toon Adventures. It's basically like a tiny little girl who's technologically adept at everything, and she sort of like speaks for him and everything, but he can still speak for himself through his music sort of thing. But it's not. They kind of form kind of like an untraditional bond type of thing. Um, but like I said, the subject matter is like there. It's just forming it into what it needs to be is what's the hardest part. And like that's the one I definitely have been like there's a reason like the first project that I described, it hasn't really like formed itself all that much. And then the second project is something that I've been forming for 6 years. It's something that is like my white whale. I would love to work on it, but I need people to like explain to me what to do with it. I guess the other big thing is I kind of want to do another EP. I recently released two EPs. One was a full album, and that was the Lost Airwaves, which was my sort of musical, I guess, musical resume in an album. for the last like five years that I have been composing and doing like music, just sort of plunking around. I kind of built up this repertoire. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just put this on an album. And then recently, I did the Redemption album, or the Maglist album, which was a I was supposed to perform at a event this year, and I got everything ready, and I practiced and I practiced, and then I moved forward, and I went there to perform, and I choked. I choked after the first song, and then I packed up everything and I walked away. And that was sort of my redemption of saying, well, this is what it could have been, and that's what that album was that I released. And so, like, the Maglist EP is great. I kind of want to follow it up with another EP of more cover songs and sort of original work, just to kind of interweave it. But I don't know. Uh, it like I have a couple of songs kicking around. Like from my last stream, you saw that I was performing. I got a B&L song, and um, I got a Dodie Clark song that I'd like to perform. Um, but I'm also starting to severely not like my voice. I'm not liking. uh, the problem with me is, everyone doesn't like hearing their own voice or the recording, but I also think I'm actually genuinely losing um, the ability to sing. And it's not I don't know if it's something I should be concerned with, but it's definitely something that I'm noticing. I don't smoke. uh, I don't I stopped drinking for this year. And the I just stopped drinking soda, but I drink water, I drink juice and stuff like that. But the other thing I do drink is seltzer water, and I'm wondering if that's having some adverse effects on my vocal cords, because I am noticing that there's sort of a reduced range. And another big thing is that it's coming out a lot more tinnier and sort of raspier. And I don't know if that's just, maybe it's just a situational thing. I mean, another big thing is, like, I'm around a lot of heavy smokers at my day job. I'm around a lot of heavy vapors at my day job, and I don't personally know. They've said that the vapor is not something that should harm your vocal cords, or shouldn't have any disadvantageable health benefits. But I personally don't know. I mean, secondhand smoke is secondhand smoke. So it's definitely something that I'm gonna keep an eye on. And I would love to do covers, but my vocal range is just completely shot and getting destroyed. So I don't know. I don't know. Oh, thank you, DJ Logan. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Uh, Problem is the guitar is going to be overdriven for the whole entire time, because my amp is all the way over there, so I can't really adjust the settings and everything. I wish I could, but you know. Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, already screwing up. All right. Well, regardless, yeah. So like currently, right now, the project that's weighing most of my mind is this test pilot number 12 project. I want to do it. Like, I really want to do it. But the problem is that, like, until there's a definitive decision on what it's supposed to be, it's just continue to, like, weigh on my mind and be limbo. And like, my friends have all been very, very supportive and super into it because they can kind of see it when I describe it, but I don't know what it is. And that's the problem. Is like I can describe all these vivid details. I just can't put it into its specific like category. And sometimes, maybe it needs to not have a category. But then that's incredibly stressful and hard. But see, that's the problem, DJ Logan, is that like I I've prided myself in the fact that I don't particularly have a skill that I'm really good at. I guess I don't know. Like I've focused a lot of my life. My early life was very focused on film and video, and it was definitely something that I know what to do. I know how to make it. Directing's not one of my strong suits, but like visually, I understand the language of film and stuff like that. And then music is the second thing. So knowing that, like you would assume is like, well, just make a musical. It's the musicals are incredibly complicated, and the fact of the matter is that for this particular project, um, the character or the main subject matter has zero voice, no face. You can communicate through guitar, but he can't communicate through anything else. And if it were just musical, if it were just a musical project, it's incredibly hard because then all the extraneous characters, which could be my friends or could be people that I can get onto whatever that musical venture would have to explain what's happening in that situation and become expositors, which is fun. Or it's not fun. I think it complicates and cheapens what the project would be, which is music. Now we could go to a fully composed piece, which is something that I have played with. But then how do you convey what the story is through that composed piece unless you have something visually to back it up with? Because, sorry to say, but composition work is only recognized as well as it is because of the visual composition that comes with it. It's the reason that there are not a lot of large big band orchestrated pieces anymore, because most of the art of orchestration has been pushed towards film, because the two definitely complement each other. Now, if we were to go to the completely opposite side and go completely visual, so make it a movie, I feel like it oh, hello goblins that live above me. um the If I were to go the complete visual route and go with like a film or a series or a serial, something along those lines, it the best way that I can describe it is I feel like it would silence the music because I would focus too much on the visual aspect of it and getting everything sort of as I see it in my head. Now we could go with the cartoon route, but the cartoon route is extremely long and extremely, extremely tedious and expensive too, because I need to make sure that I have an animator and all that stuff. And I would love to do that, but you know, I don't want to put people through that. Just to get one visual short out for an animation can take up to 2 years. And even then, I need to hammer that down to what it could be. So, like, that's the problem with that particular project. And then with the EP, like I said, the big thing is that I'm starting to not like my voice. And also, it's narrowing down the music that I want to cover or the composed music that I want to fully facilitate and turn into actual songs. It's it's a weird crossroads I'm in right now. Hence why I have this stream going right now, because I feel like this is a nice sort of uh, expositor where I can talk to everyone about what's going on. I am going to turn down the gain from my amp so that we can just have a clean sounding guitar, and then I'm going to do a cover. It's a cover that I've done on every single stream so far, and so I feel like it won't be too bad. Whoops. Sorry about that. And we're back. Oh, hit it again. That's great. All right. Okay. It's a nice day for a swim. Time waits around my feet and stumbling, and if the tide to turn. I've been waiting here so long, just hoping the answers would just somehow come along. It takes time to learn, but I've got no more time to burn. My arms feel stronger now than ever before. My eyes see far beyond the tide. The only sure way to lose is being afraid to choose. So just decide. Just decide. It started somewhere in my chest. I rest for daily work and then work for daily rest. But not anymore. I left it with my clothes back on the shore. My arms feel stronger now than ever before. My eyes see far beyond the tide. Only sure way to lose is being afraid to choose. So just decide. Just decide. Get get over before they drag you under. Get over before they drag you under. Get over. Go on and take that step before that step is taken for you. Stronger now than ever before. My eyes see far beyond the tide. Only sure way to lose is being afraid to choose. So just decide. Just decide. It's a nice day for a swim. Always got to put that in. Always got to have that. It's like the unofficial theme song of everything that I do. God. For anyone who doesn't know, that is Just Aside by I Fight Dragons off of their album. Oh God, why don't I remember the album? Jesus. Welcome to the Breakdown. Welcome to the Breakdown. I Fight Dragons. Look them up. They're a great band. They're actually just started a Patreon. You guys should go donate. I haven't yet because I am still working off of the fact that I moved. But once the money is flowing back, you better believe I will be donating to their Patreon. Either way, bada bing. Yeah, so it stuff still happening, stuff still figuring out, still still figuring things out. This is that was the opening riff to a song that I did for the show or for one of the project that's on hiatus. I really liked what I did for it. Is a theme song that I did for him. It was like one of my most proudest pieces that I've ever done. I still, if you go and search on my SoundCloud, you'll find it. It's like that project is still one of the like few projects where I'm like super proud to be working on it and stuff like that. The last project that I did, I was super proud to be working on it. I feel like the music that I did for it was a little unpolished. I could have done a lot more for polishing, but I kind of fell apart near the end of it because I was having so much outside stress and the overall the music. I was starting to fall out of love, which is that sucks whenever you're doing that for a project. If you're if you're if you're working on something that you're really passionate about, and then you keep chugging along, and then it just starts. You're going through the monotony of it, and sometimes you're just slogging through, and you're just like, God, I just don't want to delete everything and restart. And that's kind of what happened with it. And it no fault of the creator of the project or anything. That was just like my personal tastes, and especially with music, it's like everything influences it, which is annoying. I really should, for most projects, come at them without having influence music, because I'm starting to find out that the influence music is actually destroying my confidence in my own ability to create original tracks. And that's where it comes down to a sort of annoyance level of things. Because it's me, ultimately, I'm like, oh no, it's influencing me. But really what I'm doing is subconsciously I'm comparing, which is not healthy. Because no one needs to compare projects and compare music. A little red versus blue for you all. One of the like few licks that I know how to do on this guitar, and I know it's self-taught version of it. There's probably a much better version of it somewhere else, but it's work in progress. Don't tell anybody, but that's a song from my wife that I'm playing for her on her birthday. I got a couple of months, but it's there. It's the beginning of it. I've recorded it already, and I've put a bunch of backing tracks and stuff like that. But I'm gonna present it to her on her birthday. Don't tell her. This is nice. It's been fun. I just it's something that like I said, I hope that I can do it every week, and I hope you guys are being entertained as well. I don't really have any like script or planned anythings, and the fact that Pat's Plays, is a play on the fact that it should be Let's Plays, but I don't have the system to do that. So basically, this is what you're getting. Um, I'm also looking for a new computer so that I can have a little bit more features, but as it is right now, we're doing just the whole Google Hangout route. If people want to call in and actually join the call and talk to me, I forget how Google Hangouts works particularly, but that is an option we can start playing with. And if people want to figure out how to do that, I'd love for them to join me. I'd love for them to be a part and be, an interesting aspect of it. But who knows? Who knows? Really, we need to get that all situated. You got to get that all situated. But either way, I think we're coming to about that time. It's almost finished. It's about 17 minutes to the hour. So I might cut the stream a little bit short today. I'm gonna try and stream for an hour. We'll see what happens. But otherwise, uh, we'll play one more cover. It's a cover that everyone knows, but I think, or it's a cover that I've been doing every single stream. So let's try it. Hydrofield runs through my neighborhood. Somehow that always just made me feel good. I can put a spare bulb in my hand, light up my yard. And at night when the wires in the walls sing in tune to the din of the falls, I'm conducting them all while I sleep to light this whole town. If you question what I would do to get over and be with you, light you up over everything, light up my room. There's a shopping cart in the ravine. The foam on the creek is like popping ice cream. A field full of tires is always on fire and it lights my way home. And they're luxuries we can't afford, but in our house we never get bored. We can tune into the radio station that plays in our teeth. If you question what I would do to get over and be with you, light you up over everything, the light of my room. Hydrofield runs through my neighborhood. Somehow that always just made me feel good. I can put a spare bulb in my hand and light up my light up my yard. Light up my yard. La da da da. La da da da. La da da. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to the PatsPlays Chat and Play stream. This is the third annual stream. I don't, annual, whatever. Basically, all I'm saying is thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, I'm going to try and do this every week, either Tuesdays or Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I didn't specify that. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I live on the East Coast. But either way, I thank you all for tuning in, and I appreciate everything that you guys have helped me with through and talked to me and stuff like that. If you haven't, if you've just been a silent observer, welcome nonetheless. And like I said, I've got a bunch of projects that I'm going to be jumbling around for a while and trying to figure out, and let's just take this journey together. We'll see where it takes us for the next stream. Either way, pay attention to my Twitter, at the Hazard Dude. That's where I announce it. Usually I pre-announce it about maybe 2 or 3 days ahead of schedule, and then I announce it on the day of, and then usually a half hour before the stream. But either way, I'm still figuring out this whole entire streaming situation. Thank you so much for tuning in. And this is Hazard. Sorry, I had to find my cursor. And this is Hazard signing out.